Thank you for joining us at this news hour on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan, and our top stories in this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinoxe television. Cameroon's Ministry of Defense hits back on international rights group Human Rights Watch over its last report on atrocities said to have been committed by elements of the National Armed Forces in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. A statement from the Ministry of Defense says Human Rights Watch's report of August 24, 2022 is provocative and baseless. Meantime, human rights activists are raising concerns over the worsening human rights situation of the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Fighting has erupted or resumed between government forces and Tigrayan rebels in the northern part of Ethiopia, shattering a 5-month truce signed between warring sides, signed by the warring sides. In its last report on the close to 6-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, Human Rights Watch on August 24, 2022 highlighted a series of atrocities it says were committed by elements of the National Armed Forces within the context of the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And in response, the Ministry of Defense has criticized Human Rights Watch over its continuous reports on the prevailing situation, and particularly on atrocities reportedly committed by security and defense forces in the two crisis-stricken regions. A statement from the Ministry of Defense has said that the report of Human Rights Watch is provocative and baseless. Details with Fomi Armstrong Sander.
Its latest reports, published on August 11, 2022, Human Rights Watch accused the state forces of gross killings, arbitrary detention, forced disappearances of civilians, burning of houses and looting health facilities in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, instead of protecting these English-speaking Cameroonians and their properties. In a release dated August 24, 2022, the Defense Ministry, through its communication man, Colonel Research Atomfak, termed outrageously provocative the recent human rights report on incidents in Dop, Bello, Chomba and Misong in the northwest region between April 24 and June 12. The Mindef communication boss says Human Rights Watch is known for serving the Cameroonian Defense and Security Forces bitter pills with regards to abuses committed in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. That the non-governmental organization used alleged testimonies given by cessationist terrorists to develop the report. Colonel Atomfak aborts the allegations levied on the military, qualifying it as simply grotesque and ludicrous charades. Human Rights Watch, in its report, had also accused the state of instigating the military to kill and commit abuses in the two English-speaking regions, which have never been investigated but covered up. Reacting for the state, Colonel Atomfak reminded that Cameroon being a state of law, the procedures emanating from the administrative and judicial investigations triggered following these incidents, as always, when this is the case, are ongoing in accordance with the laws and regulations in force. Comporting as a big boss, the spokesman says in any case, and despite this umpteenth provocation by Human Rights Watch, the state forces remain unperturbed as they carry on their operations across the national territory with respect for human and people's rights, while ensuring that any avowed misconduct is sanctioned.
Innocent as a reporting there on the reaction of the Ministry of Defense of the Republic of Cameroon to a report published by Human Rights Watch on the 11th of August, not 24th of August as earlier indicated, and the Ministry of Defense is reacting to that report on the 24th, that is yesterday. So the report published by Human Rights Watch on alleged atrocities committed by security and defense forces in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And a civil society leader, global president of International Women's League for Peace and Freedom, Sylvie Jacqueline Dogmo, thinks that nothing can be achieved in terms of restoring peace and normalcy in those two regions without a ceasefire. A ceasefire to her is the ultimate way out, the ultimate beginning of the solution. Without a ceasefire, peaceful negotiations or even dialogue cannot take place. And she's calling on the government of Cameroon to call for a ceasefire. Take it, sir.
Regarding peace negotiation, there is still a gap to fill. That's why myself and two other Cameroonian women, we made this training last year on peace negotiation. Women in peacekeeping and peacekeeping mission. We were 3 of us, and what we did last 2 weeks ago, as I was telling you, was to make sure that this component is incorporated into the National Action Plan. So we are pleading with the government in such a way that it should be a whole component in the National Action Plan to enable Cameroonian women also be part and parcel of peace processes. The first thing is to know that it's about co-constructing together. It's not about the government doing everything alone. They have to rely and to have confidence in different stakeholders, including women themselves, who have a key role to play. And it's only the working together that is going to make us have the change we need. It's about the government and the women and the different stakeholders working together to make peace happen. But I also think that there is nothing that can happen if war is still ongoing. There should be we should have a ceasefire. Ceasefire is very important before any other thing. To engage in a peaceful dialogue, to engage in a very serious conversation, I think that the government should try and call for a ceasefire so that we engage in proper negotiation.
Human rights activists in the southwest region of Cameroon are saying that the human rights situation in that part of the country is not improving, and it is within this context that the Southwest Regional Delegate of Women's Empowerment and the Family and her collaborators organized a seminar for law enforcement officers, and this is to help promote the respect of human rights in the Southwest region. Derijato Asma.
The human rights violation situation in the Southwest region.
The rates of human rights abuses and violations are so high. It's just because the administration in place, if I want to say so, one does not encourage the issue of human rights.
And school milieux are viewed as the harbinger for violence.
There's a lot of indiscipline in our community today.
And as the new academic year draws closer, the Southwest Regional Delegation for Women Empowerment and the Family is also getting on board. Today, the delegation is bringing together security forces, municipal police, and vigilante committees under one roof for a 2-day capacity building seminar. Madam Eteki Stella Dobkima is a gender expert at the Southwest Regional Delegation of Women Empowerment and the Family. She briefed the press why the choice of such participant.
When anybody is violated, there are those that respond to them. That is, people easily go to police station to report their violation. People at the level of the community, if we have a community violence, will go to the quarter head, leaders in the community. So they serve as first line response. And it's very, very important because your action as a first line responder, it make or it mar a case for gender-based violence. That is why we want to build the capacity on what to do when you have a case of gender-based violence in your community.
Reverend Dr. Oben Ernest, the executive president for the Global Forum for the Defense of Human Rights Cameroon, noted that for 16 years his organization has been operating on the field. Most often, human rights violations are instead perpetrated by law enforcement officers.
In the case of the community like Bututu, where we just had a program there, you will see that there's a lot of mass arbitrary arrest, torture that have been coming to our office, and we came to understand that the uniformed people are the ones actually encouraging or promoting this violation, mostly in the Southwest.
And we have
an emphasis will be laid on how to erase such unhealthy behaviors, and that the mechanism put in place will be activated. The organizers add,
they are all gender desks in their various police stations. So we are going to create a network of stakeholders that are fighting gender-based violence, even at the level of the community.
This capacity building seminar holding in Boya, the Southwest Regional Capital, brought together participants from the different parts of the Southwest region.
And the group work will be on
Findings of the National Institute of Statistics reveal that the Northwest and Far North regions of Cameroon are the most affected by the increasing cost of living and, of course, the increasing cost of basic commodities on the market in the Republic of Cameroon. These two regions are affected by security problems, adding the Southwest region had earlier been identified as economically stricken zones. In the report coming up next for me, Armstrong Sander files in details on this and other statistics concerning other regions of the Republic of Cameroon, and focusing on the issue of increasing cost of living in Cameroon. This report.
Compared to the previous month, the overall prices level rose by 0.8% in July 2022 in Yaoundé and to 0.6% in Douala, according to the National Institute for Statistics. This, the report says, was provoked mainly by an increase in food prices, which stood at 1.5% in Yaoundé and to 1.3% in the city of Douala. Second cause was an increase in the prices of miscellaneous goods and services, which stood at 1.7% in Douala. In Yaoundé, restaurants and hotel prices increased by 2.3%, according to the report. The National Institute for Statistics report also blamed the increase in food prices on an 8.1% acceleration in the prices of oil and fat in Yaoundé and 11.8% rise in Douala. While oil and fat prices increased because of an increase in the prices of crude and refined oil, that of vegetables increased as a result of an increase in the prices of tubers, plantains and leafy vegetables. The National Institute for Statistics says milk, cheese and egg prices spiked by 0.4%, while fish and seafood prices rebounded at 0.3%. The report, however, said meat prices dropped as a result of a lower poultry prices.
About 400 sea turtles and 70 frogs discovered in an apartment in the Peck city of Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon, according to officials of the Ministry of Fisheries and Animal or Forestry and Wildlife in Limbe. The traffickers left the north of the country with the sea turtles and the frogs, and were destined for markets in the southwest region of the country. Lucy Liengo reports.
100 sea turtles and 70 frogs were rescued in an apartment in the Limbe 2 subdivision. Officials say the traffickers who left the North region to Limbe had as aim selling these products. The ground was cracked, the turtles and the frogs were put together. There were no special conditions. The frogs were put in a handbag made up of a temporary local bamboo material. In a search mission carried out by the staff of the Regional Perpetual Unit of Forestry and Wildlife Southwest Region, say the traffickers were not identified.
it shows that this species of turtles are coming from the Saharan region of Cameroon. So in principle, they are supposed to be transferred back to their natural habitat, which is from the northern part of Cameroon. And if this is not done within the nearest time possible, we are going to experience a lot of deaths of these turtles. For the frogs, they are common species of frogs that we find within the region. They will be transferred to other parts of the region where they can freely live and survive.
Forestry officials call on the population to be vigilant.
We are calling on the population to help the administration to fight against this trafficking of wildlife by this unknown person or traffickers. We are calling on them to give us information, to come to the forestry office, the nearest forestry offices, and give information on anyone who is holding, collecting, or transporting wildlife species.
The trafficking of wildlife species, which is against the law, the forces of law and order, and the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife are carrying out investigations to address this issue.
Municipal authorities in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, are fighting what has been identified as the major hindrance to development in several localities in that part of the littoral region, that is mismanagement of funds and also the poor conduct of some price controllers on the market who are depriving municipal or councils of the revenue they are supposed to receive from that activity, and of course the income that is supposed to come in from other sources that are either poorly managed or embezzled by some of the officials. And these are some of the issues that were on the discussion table during the Melon Council session, as Mala Glory reports.
Dishonesty on the part of some price controllers, especially the failure to give account of taxpayers' money, has been blamed for underdevelopment, according to business persons and councillors of the town of Melon, Mongo Division of the littoral region. These price controllers collect money without presenting a bill to taxpayers, who in the end turn to accuse the council. The mayor is responsible to combat this ill. It really affects the council's budget. This was during a council session presided over by the mayor of Melon, Jean Crete, in his municipality, a meeting to evaluate the 2021 financial budget, during which the mayor promised to put an end to the ills affecting the council's budget. We are trying to discuss on that at the level of the council to denounce this attitude. With a budget of close to 2 billion, realization stood at 60% with an execution rate of 50%. An investigative commission was therefore created to carry out tax collection in the market.
Fighting has erupted between government forces and Tigrayan rebels in the northern part of Ethiopia, and this has shattered a 5-month truce between warring sides, and residents of the capital are worried and expressing concerns about the situation. Cuts Urius.
Residents in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa have reacted with dismay to renewed fighting between government forces and Tigrayan rebels in the north of the country. The outbreak of violence shatters a 5-month ceasefire and deals a blow to peace efforts. Both sides have accused each other of striking first.
We had hoped they were ready for peace, but now our hope is gone. If they start the war, it will be not good for the people of Ethiopia and Tigray. Those who pick up their weapons are not thinking about the people.
Politics is a game of knowledge and art, and we should use that knowledge and come to the negotiating table. That should be the basis for Ethiopia.
The choice should have been negotiation and peace. We saw what war did last time, and it'll do the same thing again. It'll just cause damage. The main thing is peace. If that doesn't work, there's nothing we can do.
The conflict that first began in November 2020 has killed untold numbers of people, with widespread reports of atrocities including mass killings and sexual violence. The March truce had paused fighting, allowing a resumption of international aid to war-stricken Tigray.
In Angola, the governing party, the MPLA, in power since independence nearly 50 years ago, appears close to winning another term as the counting of votes today into yesterday's election enter its final stages, and the National Election Commission said President João Lourenço, his party, was holding onto its tally of more than 52%, with its long-time rival UNITA trailing with just under 43%. The streets have remained calm, although earlier on Wednesday, police used tear gas to disperse pro-opposition youths in the capital, Luanda, and analysts say the results were likely to be closer than in previous elections, with many Angolans frustrated that only the elite has benefited from the country's oil wealth. And now in sports, executive members of the Cameroon Football Federation will be meeting in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, tomorrow. And the meeting is coming days after the Court of Arbitration for Sports upheld the election of FECAFOOT President Samuel Eto'o, and coming months to the World Cup. And of course, in the report coming up next month, Jikan Gabriel takes a look at the stakes of that meeting.
It will be an executive committee meeting filled with a lot of issues to be discussed by the executive members of the Cameroon Football Federation. Most pressing will surely be the contract that FECAFOOT signed with One All Sports that will henceforth produce kits for the national football teams. Details of the said contract were not made public in the media release that was published to announce the partnership between FECAFOOT and One All Sports. On the other hand, the former kit manufacturer of the senior men's football team, Coq Sportif, has not yet given up the fight against FECAFOOT, whom they accused of breaching their contract. Another burning issue will be on the preparation of the national men's team to the FIFA World Cup later this year in Qatar. If some non-qualified teams for the World Cup already have opponents to take on international friendly, Cameroon is still to have one. This will surely explain why Cameroon has been dangling on the FIFA World Ranking each month when FIFA publish them. At the national level, it is expected that at the end of the executive committee meeting, Elite 1 and 2 clubs will be fixed on the date for the kickoff of the Elite 1 and Elite 2 championships respectively. The amount that each participating club will gain and the cash prize for the winners will surely be on the tables of discussions, alongside the new rules that will guide the Elite 1 and 2 championship in the 2022-2023 football season. The recent reaction of the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Lausanne on the eligibility of Samuel Eto'o as president of the Cameroon Football Federation will also be looked into, with Abdurrahman Amadou promising to return to court for the same case. The executive committee meeting of the Cameroon Football Federation comes up this Friday in Douala, and this comes after that of Limbe.
And that's it for today. Coming up next from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, Equinoxe, with Serge Alonto. Stay with us.